From the brownstones and boutiques of Newberry Street to the Freedom Trail and its countless historical landmarks, these are the 10 best things to do in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, if this is your first trip to the city on a hill, you have to get the lay of the land. And the best way to do that is by checking out the brownstones and boutiques of Newberry Street. This busy locale has a lot to offer, starting with its snapshot of Boston's unique architecture. Lined with brownstones dating back to the 1800s, this street looks like a time capsule of centuries gone by, and it also happens to feature one of the most exclusive shopping experiences you could imagine. Every high-end brand from Chanel to Burberry has set up shop on this bustling avenue, not to mention all the rustic cafes and chic restaurants that can give your feet a well-deserved break. Boston's not called America's walking city for nothing, so you're gonna need a place to relax and recharge your batteries. Once you've gotten some shopping out of the way, you might want to check out the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum. If there's one thing this city is known for, it's the Tea Party. After all, it was one of the first major displays of American freedom, and you can get a true taste of what things were like at this museum. Just so you know, it's not just some boring relics behind glass. You'll find actors in full costume, educational displays you can interact with, and of course, replica ships that you can throw some tea crates off of in the outdoor attractions. The actors speak in 18th century dialect for maximum immersiveness, so it'll really feel like you're in the middle of all the action. Make sure you head over to Abigail's Tea Room to freshen up once you're done exploring. Cause not only will it give you the best brew you ever tasted, it also gives you a clear view of everything going on at the harbor. That actually makes it a great place to start your journey. But either way, you might need something a bit quieter after all that commotion. So you should make the Boston Public Library your next stop. I know, a library doesn't exactly sound like the hottest spot in town, but this isn't just any old book repository. The Boston Public Library is an architectural marvel, showcasing that 19th century style that makes Newberry Street so special. Oh, and did I mention it hosts free events nearly every day? If you're strapped for cash, you can always find something fun to do here. And for the bookworms out there, this place has about 19 million volumes you can chew through. There's also a lovely courtyard in case you like reading outdoors. But whether you head outside or stay in, you'll be able to get your reading done in peace and quiet. A couple hours spent at this sprawling complex will leave you hungry for more culture. So it's time to make a beeline to the city's center for the arts. Luckily for you, the Museum of Fine Arts is just over a mile away. You can walk there from the library in 20 minutes if you hurry, but I'd suggest slowing down and taking in the sights on the way. And once you've arrived, you'll get to enjoy a treasure trove of art history. It'll take forever to explore each wing, so I'd suggest covering all the greatest hits first. The MFA hosts one of the finest Egyptian exhibits in the world, giving you a glimpse of one of the most ancient human societies we know of. That's not to say the MFA is all about the old school stuff, of course. The Linda Family Wing for Contemporary Art is all about what's happening right now, so modern groundbreaking artists get their time to shine too. You'll need at least a day combing through the MFA, and by the time the sun goes down, you'll be dying for some food. Look no further than High Street Place and its unbelievable variety of tasty treats. This food hall combines all of Boston's finest culinary delights, but I'd recommend starting with Mama Lay's. Their pastrami is absolutely to die for, and their bagels are probably the best you're gonna get outside of Manhattan. In fact, some people might say Boston does bagels better, but that's a debate I'm not gonna get into, so you'll have to decide for yourself. More importantly, you'll need something sweet to cleanse your palate after all that salty meat, and for that, I'd recommend heading over to Blackbird. They make these insane artisanal donuts that'll make Krispy Kreme seem awful in comparison. Now, most of these dishes come from other cities, and some of you might be wondering where all the real Boston food is at. Nothing personifies Boston's cuisine more than Neptune Oyster's Lobster Roll. They offer the classic lobster roll that Boston's known for. And while it might sound weird, you can get it served hot or cold, depending on your preference. Caught right off the New England coast, these delicious crustaceans are about as fresh as they can get. And while the simple toasted bun they're served on might not sound special, it'll take just one bite to realize how well everything comes together. That said, if you want something a bit more modern, consider ordering a brown butter lobster roll from Eventide Fenway. They use a softer Chinese-style bun, which seriously changes the experience because the nutty flavors of the browned butter really bring out the sweetness of the lobster. Okay, enough about food. Boston's not just about eating, so how about something to drink instead? Like one of Boston's iconic pumpkin spice lattes, for example. Call it basic if you like, but the pumpkin spice latte has been a cornerstone of Boston's cafe scene for 2 decades. And Starbucks isn't the only cafe offering this beverage nowadays. Tons of cafes littering Boston's busy streets have created their own spin on the PSL, like La Colombe Coffee Roasters and their oat milk-based version. That's perfect for the vegans out there, and purists can head on over to Frank for a traditional handmade take. You'll get the same mix of warm, delicious spices no matter where you go. But each cafe brings something unique to the table as well. If sipping on all that Java leaves you feeling a little artsy, the Institute of Contemporary Art can give you a whole new perspective on the provocative. Don't get me wrong, the art you'll see here isn't all about shock value, but it always tries to push boundaries. That's what makes it such an indispensable part of Boston's art scene. The building itself is a solid work of art, with a mind-bending, futuristic design that draws you in at first sight. Plenty of live music performances happen here too, and again, budget travelers aren't left high and dry. You can get in for free on Thursday evenings, so make sure you pay the ICA a visit. The Boston Theater District's another place to scratch your cultural itch. The great thing about this locale is its inexhaustible variety, with everything from Shakespeare to avant-garde plays right at your fingertips. However, the real cream of the crop can be found at the Boston Opera House, and you really shouldn't judge it by its name. While there are more than enough operas to watch if you prefer, the BOH has stuff like Broadway shows to spice things up too. After reopening in 2004 following some impressive renovations, the Boston Opera House became a hub for some of the finest theatrical productions in the country, and there's even some ballet if you're feeling really fancy. I've barely scratched the surface, by the way. The Blue Man Group has been performing nightly in this district for years by this point, so they're worth a visit if you want to immerse yourself into Boston's theater scene. People with kids should know that there are tons of child-friendly options as well, proving that there really is something for everybody in this amazing neighborhood. Okay, I've got one final destination that you absolutely must try before you leave: the Freedom Trail and its countless historical landmarks. Located smack dab in the middle of the city, the Freedom Trail gives you a chance to see the Cradle of Liberty at its best. It starts in the Boston Common, which was established all the way back in 1634, making it the first public park ever opened in America. That's nearly 400 years of history to start with, but the Boston Common is just the tip of the iceberg. The 2.5-mile Freedom Trail stretches all the way to the Bunker Hill Monument up in Charlestown, and you'll spot some amazing relics of the past along the way. The Paul Revere House definitely stands out, but don't forget about the Old North Church, and the Faneuil Hall Marketplace is definitely worth a visit too. As you can see, there's really no end to Boston's wonders. You'll need to make at least a couple more trips to explore them all. So from walking through history along the Freedom Trail to the beautiful architecture of Newberry Street, these were the 10 best things to do in Boston, Massachusetts.